Hello there, it's the 20th of May 2020 and here you are with Dan in Essex, UK. The main purpose of my channel is to show people how to grow their own fruit and vegetables, no matter what size garden, allotment or growing space they do indeed have. So today we're going to be talking a bit about propagation. I'm going to show you some things that I'm currently propagating, give you some examples of them at different stages of the propagation procedure and a bit of a reasoning about why one should do it. And one of the main reasons is that you can create a hugely productive garden or an allotment from propagation for free, okay, or at least very little amount of investment. So there we go. Now what we will do is we will start over here with some fig cuttings that I'm currently rooting. So you can see them in this container here. So I was given these during the dormant season. They were wrapped in newspaper, then with some cling film around them, kept moist, and I kept them in the refrigerator. And when the weather started warming up, probably about 6 weeks ago, something like that, coming towards the end of the dormant season, I put them in this container of water here and put them in on a south-facing windowsill. So you can see they're starting to root out. See that one there? I'm not going to lift them out because I don't want to disturb them. Also in there I've got a grapevine cutting, and also, just for a bit of a giggle, I've got some cuttings here, some scions from an apple tree. So they're doing very well. You can see they're starting to leaf out. All sorts of lovely, beautiful, different varieties in there. So far, a success. Okay, so strawberries are a must for propagation if you like strawberries. So you can see these are carrying actually quite a huge crop at the moment. I've got all sorts of different varieties here. Now what will happen towards the end of the season, once the fruiting has finished, probably maybe September, October time, what will happen is they'll put out some runners. So if you take, for instance, this plant here, this should put out, maybe about 3 or 4 runners. And what you do is you take the first runner from each one. So one runner will come from here like this, and then they want to keep putting out subsequent ones. You take the first one of each runner, and what you can do is root that either in the compost, in the soil, in the ground, if you're growing them in the ground, or put them in a little pot, for instance, say one like this, put it in, weight it down, and then it should root, and you can cut it off the following year. Okay, so in the 3x2 polytunnel, you can see I've got some other fig cuttings. Now these have been in here actually quite an amount of time, and I've left them in here. They didn't really look like they were doing much, but you can see they're starting to put out little green shoots now. So that's very, very fascinating actually, and I thought that they hadn't taken, but they have. So there they are, and who knows how they're going to do. Right, so you can see on here I've got some specimens that I'm currently propagating. Now, I've got grapes, gooseberries, currants. Now, we'll start with this grapevine here. So you see this. Now, I took this, not the last dormant season, but the one before. So probably year beginning 2019. So you can take it during the dormant season, as long as the leaves are off, so like December until weather permitting, where you're growing them, etc., up until maybe April time. And what you do is you cut off a piece of the previous year's growth and you put 2 buds below the ground, 2 above, and it should leaf out. So this one here, you can see this was the cutting. This bit was last year's growth, and all these new green shoots are this year's growth. So this is in its second season, if you will, from the time in which I took the cutting. Now this vine here I took from a cutting a few years ago, and it's come into lovely fruition this year. Now, it would have come into fruition last year, but somehow one of the branches, one of the tendrils got broken, so it didn't set much of a crop. But this year it has, and it had plenty of growth on it last year, as you could see, and the tendrils, the canes that have come off of that, have set a massive crop. So this probably is, let's say, in its 3rd or 4th year, and you can see the crop. So getting into grapevine propagation is very, very worthwhile indeed. So currants, for instance, you can see there, look, once again, the same story. The original cutting would have been down there. It's put out to growth a few years. I probably took this one, 2 growing seasons ago. The gooseberry here once again, and more grapevine cuttings here. Now these grapevine cuttings are in their first year of propagation, so you can just see how lovely they look down there. Really nice, and you've got to keep them moist. You don't want them in an area where they're going to get too much sun, because you need to keep that growing medium, you know, really nice, just lightly damp, okay, so that they can proceed to root out. So this is going to be part of a great project that I've really got underway. You will learn more about that as time goes on. So for those of you whose boat is floated by grafting, so this is some grafting that I did this year, okay, so you can see this here, this is the scion, and this is in its first year of grafting. There's the grafting tape, and so far it's taking well. This one here, a bit behind, but I think it's going to take, because you can see what I refer to as sort of fluffiness coming on the end of the tips there and on the buds, so hopefully that will take as well. So this apple tree here is a tree that I took a few years ago from it's a scion, and the rootstock is down there, so it's fused sort of down there really well. But I think this is the first year that I've managed to get some apples off of it. So if you look up there, look, you can see little apples that have set, so very happy. And you can see that this is probably an 8-foot tree, you know, that I've grafted myself, and it's very satisfying when you do that. So there you go, there's a little bit about propagation. I've got a playlist on grafting if you're interested, and I've got videos on how to take a gooseberry cutting, how to take currant and grapevine cutting, so study those. But the time that you take cuttings from gooseberries, currants and grapes is during the dormant season, okay? So there we go, lots to learn, very interesting stuff, and you know, of everything that's going on, learning how to propagate, you know, very important thing. Okay, if you like my work, please feel free to like, share and subscribe, and as always, you can check me out on Dan_Home Gardens on Instagram if you're interested. See you next time.